So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first presentation of this wonderful conference. Once more, I would like to thank the guys for organizing this event. My topic will be about securing MikroTik devices, and I will specialize myself on improving the security of logon. My name is Dobšovič, and I come from Slovakia. I'm also a Microsoft certified, but also MikroTik certified trainer. And so let's move on to the agenda of my presentation. First, I will start by talking about the services. I'm sure that many of you are familiar already with the services. I will make a little bit dive into some of them, especially SSH, Roman, maybe WebFig. And then in the last part of my presentation, I will be speaking about our beloved passwords and where are the problems with the passwords and how to maybe mitigate the problems, and so I will move to the TOTP. So, RouterOS gives us a few management services. I'm sure you already know Telnet. Who is using Telnet? Great. Never use Telnet. On L3, it's not needed because you have SSH. Actually, there is a Mac Telnet. It's a good feature. From RouterOS 7.17, if you put a bridge interface into Mac Telnet, you will be able to Mac Telnet from any of the ports that are connected to the bridge interface. So this is a little change since 7.17. SSH, who is using SSH? Great. You can use SSH not only for managing your RouterOS, but also for forwarding or tunneling your communication, which enables you to hide certain services behind your SSH tunnel and not expose them publicly. I will be showing this later. There is a WebFig application or web server on your RouterOS, which by default works on TCP/IP, so on HTTP. You would like to disable that probably. But there are some problems with disabling the www.service, especially if you want to use things like Let's Encrypt or maybe some other. So there are some things you need to configure before you can, or how to disable the WebFig itself. And WinBox. WinBox is the mostly used probably. I'm sure that many of you are using WinBox. The biggest advantage is that it can work on layer 2 as well. And also you can use Roman. How many of you are using Roman, by the way? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Regarding the users, what you should do and what you should not do. First, what you should do, the first thing you are doing in your device when you configure it, you should replace your admin user. Okay? So the first thing I am doing on my devices, I boot them, I connect as an admin without the password, or if it's a new device, I mean the new models, they require you to have some random admin password. I create myself a new user, log off, log on with the new user and delete the admin. Why? Because the admin has a well-known username, this is the first. And in the past, there were some security issues with the admin user. So if you want to mitigate those security issues, you could either replace your admin user or upgrade to the newer version. The second thing is follow the principle of least privilege. What does it mean? Don't give your users the permissions they don't need. For example, you know that there are a few groups of users. There is a group full, group read, and group write. If you have, for example, monitoring, the account for the monitoring user doesn't have to have the full group. But is the read group okay? Would you use the read group? Why? Exactly. Default root group, read group has a permission to reboot the device. Why would you need that? Okay? So to follow the principle of least privilege, always create a group for yourself for that particular reason you are using it. And for example, if you have monitoring that uses just, I don't know, maybe SSH or something else, or maybe a REST API or the legacy API, just enable those services you need. Do not enable anything else unless you need it. Okay, and you can do this by creating a new group. By the way, it's in system users. And you can create the thing like this. Also, there is a funny thing called skin, where you can change the menu that the user will see. Another thing is the security of the password itself. This window is in system users. By the way, is this settings button. Default values. Minimum password length, 0 characters. Minimum categories, 0. What does it mean? That nobody is required to have the password. And if you have the password, you need to use at least 0 of the 4 character classes. Lowercase, uppercase, number, and special characters. So if you want, use the password, set the minimum password length as desired, and put their minimum categories at least maybe 2, 3, I don't know, maybe 4. It depends on how strong password you need. Little spoiler, passwords are not secure. Don't use them at all, if possible. Also, you can set the allowed addresses on your user accounts. So if you create a user, and you know that this user will log on only from certain IP ranges, IP addresses, subnets, put them here. Okay? If the user tries to connect from another address, the connection will not be successful. So if you, for example, forget to configure some firewalls or whatever, that user will not be able to log on from any other IP ranges than those that they are specified here. And as you can see, it's a multiple choice, so you can put there more either address blocks or IP addresses. Now let's move on to the SSH. So my recommendation for all of you, don't use passwords, use SSH keys. This is the first thing. Maybe some of you don't know how to use the SSH key and you find it difficult to use the SSH key. Actually, it's very easy. It doesn't matter whether you are on Linux or Windows or macOS, you can create the SSH key very easily, because also on Windows there is a native SSH client since April 2018 or so. So you can use either RSA algorithms to create the key. See, I'm using the 3 kilobits key here. Or maybe you can also use the ED, which is elliptic curves. The keys are shorter and the security is same in comparison to the RSA. But the RSA is more compatible, so if you have probably older RouterOS version, or you are using the key also for some servers that don't support the ED algorithms, then stick to using the RSA. So you issue this command on your command line, and then it will produce 2 files. Usually those files are like ID RSA something and ID RSA.pub. The .pub is the public part of the key. You want to upload this public key to your device. The private key should never leave the device on which it has been created for the security reasons. So if you want to generate some kind of SSH keys for your colleagues, for your users, don't do that on your machine. You have exposed the private key to some other machine. So generate the keys on their side and just take the public key. You don't need to have the private key at all. And then you go to the RouterOS, you import the SSH key. First, you need to create a user, of course. You import the SSH key to particular user. And then if you want to connect via the SSH with the key, you can put the -e and the name of the key file. Or if you have used the default ID RSA, you don't need to specify anything. And it will connect for free. Okay? No password needed. Plus, there is one more thing. If you set the SSH key to the user, it will automatically disable the password login by default. But just for the SSH, of course. For WinBox, you will need the password. For WebFig, you will need the password. But for SSH, the password authentication will be disabled. If you want to modify the settings, you will go just to IP SSH, then settings, and you can enable, you can enable this always allow password login. This is disabled by default. By the way, on this window, this is from older version, it's not 7.18. They have replaced the cryptographic things on 7.18. The allow non-crypto has been removed and replaced with some crypto algorithms. So check that on your devices before you upgrade to 7.18 or 7.17. Never mind. Before upgrade, always check the change logs. Okay, this is my recommendation. With the SSH key, you can encrypt it with the password on your site, but plus store it on an encrypted storage. So many of you have laptops. I'm sure that your hard drives are encrypted. If not, do it now. maybe after the presentation. The second thing about the SSH, when you are connecting with SSH to your device, to your server, anywhere, you see something like this. What do you usually do? Yes, that's it, I want to connect. Who is checking the SSH host key before he connects for the first time? 4 of you? 5? What's the problem? There might be a man-in-the-middle attack, and so you can be connected to some other device, because SSH provides you the mutual authentication, okay? First, server will authenticate to you, you accept the authentication, and then you authenticate to the server. So if you just press yes or write yes or click accept or whatever, with no checking the key, it doesn't make a sense, right? So if you want to check your key on RouterOS, IP SSH, you can export host key with some key file prefix, and then on your computer, you issue this command like ssh keygen list from file mykey.pub. So you just copy the public part of the key from your device to your computer, and you can check the hash, and the hash must match this hash that is here. 2 things here. This command exports also private key, so be sure to immediately delete the private key from your files section on your device. And second, it also writes to the log a warning that SSH keys have been exported. Okay, so you need to know about it. What might happen next? Something like this. You are connecting to your SSH device, and you see that the remote host identification has changed. Usually the SSH clients from the command line don't allow you to connect, at least on Windows. On Linux, I think there is also a yes button, and if you are using PuTTY, there is also an accept button. But if you don't recheck your key again, somehow in trusted manner, someone could be eavesdropping you right now, man-in-the-middle attack. You are accepting that, okay? So recheck the key. When might the host key change? Well, sometimes it does it because of upgrade of your RouterOS. So be prepared for that. Always try to test your upgrade before you do it on the production. So the best test environment is the production one, right? But always try to do it before. Read the change logs. Okay, this will help much. Now, regarding the SSH, we have a strong crypto. This is what it does. It simply makes the cryptographic algorithm stronger. I don't think it's enabled by default, so also check. Tomorrow there will be an amazing presentation about the defaults, so I'm really looking forward to it. So maybe we will get some information also about this, but these strong crypto algorithms, unless you are using something old like, I don't know, Windows 7, Windows XP or so, you should have this enabled, because you don't need MD5, you don't need like shorter keys. Why? Also it disables null encryption. Yeah, so make the SSH secure again, right? What does it have? It has SSH tunneling. Are you using tunnels? Who? Great. Not all of you. What is this forwarding or tunneling? It enables you to create a SSH encrypted tunnel on your device, and the end of the tunnel will be on the RouterOS device. So then you can map some port from the RouterOS device on your local host computer, and then you can use it to connect to any other service, which is something like the MFA. I will try to explain a little bit later. Okay, so what can it do? I will first enable the forwarding on IP SSH. Then I will set my WinBox service to be available only from the local host or any other loopback address, it doesn't matter, but usually you can use the local host. So on IP service WinBox, you use the hello WinBox only from localhost, which means that the WinBox will not be available anywhere on the network. But what you can do, you can create a SSH tunnel. You can authenticate yourself with the key. So I use my user account, I connect to the device, and this -L makes on my computer port 1234, and the other end of the tunnel will be on the device, on the local host, on the WinBox port. And then I will be connected through WinBox to my local host to port 1234, and it will go directly through the SSH tunnel to the localhost WinBox. So what I have done, I have established MFA. I'm using SSH key is something I have, and I'm using the password, it's something I know. You have two factors, okay? Of course, there are many other possibilities on how to create the SSH tunnel, for example, with your smart cards if you want. And if MikroTik's RouterOS is not capable of doing that, you can spin up some Linux container, Linux virtual machine, and use this as a jump server to configure your devices. It's not a problem. And to establish this tunnel, it's very easy. Even you can make a script that will connect the tunnel and open the WinBox yourself. If you're too lazy, just double click or run the script, and you will have WinBox opened with the SSH tunnel already established. So it's very easy, and why not use it? Another service, Roman. Roman is a router management overlay network. It's very great. It's a great service that enables you to configure more devices from one point, and the devices don't need to be available on the network themselves. So this Roman works even if the Mac WinBox and Mac Telnet servers are disabled without any problems. But without any problems, yeah, it works. Okay, so how? What is the attack vector of the Roman? So in the normal environment, the administrator can't see any of these both devices because they have the discovery disabled, and he cannot connect to any of the device via L2 because they have Mac Telnet and Mac WinBox disabled. He can connect via L3 to the CRS, to the main switch here, because of the firewall settings, let's say. And so he establishes the connection via IP to this device, and then from this device, he can connect through Roman to the second device. This is okay. Let's see it from the point of, from the view of the attacker. He can't see any device, same as administrator, because the discovery is disabled, right? He can connect to any device via L2, same as administrator, because the services are disabled. And he can't connect to the CRS via L3 because of the firewall. It's okay. So can he use Roman somehow? He cannot use the Roman because he cannot connect to this device. This is seen only by Roman. What can he do? He can install CHR on his computer. And he already has a Roman agent installed on his computer under his control, and so he can use Roman, right? He creates a switch on his computer, and he can use the Roman. If it's correctly configured. Yeah, of course, but he can try the passwords, and he can do the brute force attacks, for example. So just by disabling the connections to the main switch, it doesn't mean that nobody else could use the Roman. That's why you should configure your Roman properly. I have seen many deployments where the Roman looked like this. Yes. Many people are doing, yeah, I want to use Roman because I know it's cool. Tools Roman enable, that's it. This is the problem, okay? So if you don't set the secrets, and there is a huge problem and huge vulnerability. What you should do is that you should check from the Roman, you can click the ports, and we can set which ports should be available. All ports are available by default, and in the newer version, this all row is there by default. You cannot disable, you cannot delete it. What you can do, you can open it and you can set the 4-bit. So you disable it by configuring the 4-bit setting to on, to yes, and then you add just the port you need, and you can set the secrets also per port. Do it. It's always better, okay? Since 7.17, you can use also interface lists here. Because before 7.17, you need to specify every interface itself, but if you want, now you can use also interface lists. So it's nice feature. Be careful about exporting the port secrets. If you want to export it, you need to export with show sensitive to have the password, okay? Okay, Next service is the WebFig. It has a new design since 7.17. Some of you may have already know. Okay, you want to disable the access to www service, which is the TCP/80, the HTTP, but there are a few problems where you cannot disable the www service. Firstly, it's required for providing the CRL. If you are using your device as a certification authority and as a CRL distribution point, you cannot disable TCP/80. Secondly, if you want to use the Let's Encrypt, the challenge verification happens on port TCP/80 from the Let's Encrypt servers, so from your WAN. So you need to expose the TCP/80 to your WAN. Also, if it's used for REST API via HTTP, you should disable the REST API via HTTP, but how? You can leave the HTTP server running and restrict just the WebFig application, and there are two methods I have found. It's either setting a layer 7 firewall rule or using a web proxy. So, time for taking the pictures. Layer 7 firewall rule here, what it does, it checks or it creates a rule for a well-known ACME challenge path, which is accessed by the Let's Encrypt. And so you allow only the Let's Encrypt protocol and you disable others. This is the firewall way of working with it. It's fine because you can also make an exception for yourself. So you can use the WebFig, you can use the REST API and whatever, and you just disable everything else. The second method is using the web proxy, where you move your www.service to port, let's say 1234, and you make it available only from the local host. And then you create a web proxy with anonymous access enabled, and the parent proxy will be the web service itself, and you will start the proxy on the port 80. So you change the www for the web proxy, and then you can make rules. You can either make an action deny, so if the path is not, see the exclamation mark here, if the path is not the well-known ACME challenge, deny. The problem here is that the RouterOS device will say it has been denied by the MikroTik web proxy. If you want to hide that you are using MikroTik, you can use action redirect, place the rule like this, with that action data is just a colon. Actually, the action data should be the target where you want the user to be redirected, but if you put there just a colon, syntactically it's correct, but your browser will tell you redirect was not successful, okay? So this is also a method how to hide the web config or how to show only the Let's Encrypt, let's say. And of course, don't forget to enable filter that if I'm logging from my local host to destination port 1234, so to the WebFig from the web proxy, or to the WebFig from the web proxy, I want to accept it. If you need the access for yourself, use SSH channel, okay? And then you can go through the web proxy, or you can go directly to the device. So let's move on. What is the most insecure method of the authentication? The password. Why? Why the password is the most insecure method of the authentication? First, users tend to use the same password everywhere, right? They found a magic word, they want to use it as a password, and they are using the same magic word everywhere. Okay, this is the first problem. Second problem that I am facing, many users try to remember their password by storing it securely. Something like this. Yeah, under the keyboard, on the screen, on the table, under the table, everywhere. Okay? So the passwords are really securely stored. Maybe there is an Excel document or the Word document and you see. I call the password that they are shared secrets. I'm also seeing that in some companies, the users tend to share the passwords between others because if my colleague goes on holiday, I need to log into her computer, so I need to know her password. Yeah, so the password is a shared secret. And also, there is quite a huge risk of interception. Well, to the interception, how can we protect the password? So the first thing you will tell me, use antivirus. Great. Antivirus actually is not a bad way on how to protect your computer, but if I have 100% bulletproof antivirus, I can still use something like this. Here it is. It's a device. I mean, this one is here. You see it's quite small. It's a device that has the USB male and female. You plug it into the computer. You plug your keyboard through the device. And you have like 16 gigabytes of memory to store all of the keystrokes you have pressed. They went through the device. Of course, the device is just something that puts it through, and it remembers. Also, this thing is not only a keylogger, believe me or not, it's also a keyboard. Yeah, because if it's putting through your keys, you can put a payload there and make the payload run on the victim's computer. Or malicious keyboard. I have seen this. Dear customer, thank you for our cooperation. We are sending you a gift here. This is the keyboard. It has Wi-Fi. So you can come to your victim's office, start up your smartphone, and download the keystrokes. So your passwords are not safe. I think I've heard something like, let's protect the password with a password-safe application. Are you using some kind of applications like a KeyPass or whatever else? But how do the application work? If you open the application, what do you do as the first? You type the master password. Here we are again. Maybe you are using some certificates, smart cards, FIDO keys. Okay, great. So we got rid of the master password, let's say. But what happens next? You copy the plain password from the password safe, and you have in KeyPass by default, I think it's 12 seconds, you have to paste the plain password. But during these 12 seconds, what can happen? Where is the password stored? In your clipboard, in your memory, and it's unencrypted. Well, it can take you roughly 5 seconds using ChatGPT to write script like this. This is on Windows, this is a PowerShell script, okay? You can do anything. And sure, if not script, you can make yourself an application, you can make anything. This just monitors your clipboard, right? So it reads if there is a change in your clipboard, the change will be written to your text file for these demonstration purposes, and that's it. Do you think that the antivirus will find this some kind of suspicious? No. No. It's normal thing that you are monitoring your clipboard. Even if you are using remote desktops, if you have Windows Server or any other Windows client, and you connect to the remote desktop, this script could run on the remote desktop, and it will monitor your host clipboard, because by default, the sharing clipboard is enabled. So once you copy the password on your personal computer, while you are connected to the remote desktop, and the remote desktop might be minimized, you copy something to your clipboard with the clipboard sharing enabled. On that remote server, your clipboard will be monitored. Your antivirus will never have any clue of what has happened, and so you won't have any clue that something like that could happen. So this is the problem. That's why I'm saying that passwords are not safe. So how to make passwords stronger again? Now, what can we do about it? We can create a new password each time after we use it. So let's say we have got a super secure password, and we will modify the password to contain some, let's say, numbers. This is called TOTP, time-based one-time password. What does it mean? That it changes each, by default, 30 seconds. And if you once use the password, it's not valid, you need to wait another 30 seconds for the number to change, and then you can use the password again. So this is very popular nowadays. You are using some TOTP applications like Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator, and so on. And what you can do about it, or how you can deploy such mechanism, you need a radio server, which can be, of course, RouterOS, but from 7.8 and newer. Because in 7.8, the OTP thing came available. Okay? Unfortunately, this radio server is not supported on SMIPS architecture, but fortunately, you can use it on any other architecture, so you can spin up a CHR for yourself. Okay? It's not a problem. If you are using some other radio server, such as Open Free Radius, or on Microsoft you have a MPS server, you can use it, but I will be doing it on MikroTik. You need to be sure that each of your devices have the correct date and time, because it's time-based, right? So if the date and time is mismatched, your password will not work. And then you need a TOTP application, as I have already mentioned, or there is a nice web tool called TOTP.app, which you might believe or not. Yeah, it's fine. I think it's open source. And it doesn't store the TOTP secrets on the server, but in your browser. So you can use it as a replacement for your application. Be careful about the TOTP applications and look twice when you will be downloading something. When I was creating this presentation, I needed a screenshot of Google Play Store or whatever, so I was searching for Microsoft Authenticator. You see, Microsoft Authenticator. What I have found is Microsoft Authenticator, but it's also this very weird and suspiciously looking application. Something that it's sponsored, yeah, this means it's sponsored, offers in-app purchases, contains ads. The description of the application, I think it's Portuguese. I'm not speaking Portuguese, but I think yes. My phone is set to Slovak. I would expect either Slovak or English. Yeah? And also the icons are similar. Now this application is not anymore in the Google Play Store. So look a few times before you install something, because if you put your TOTP secret into a compromised application, the owner of the application will have your TOTP secret. And if somebody has your TOTP secret, he can generate the TOTP code as well, because it's not a magic algorithm. You put there the TOTP secret, you put the current date and time, and the algorithm will give you 6 numbers. That's it. Okay? How to generate the TOTP secret for you or for your users? You can use RouterOS script, one-liner, yeah. 16 characters from base 32 alphabet. So it's like the characters from A to Z and then the numbers from 2 to 7. There is no 0, no 1, because they can be mismatched with I and O. There is also a PowerShell script on how to generate such secret, or if you want to use Bash, here you are, okay? Very easy script on how to generate any random 16 character string. You may use Python, JavaScript, whatever you want, okay? It's not the magic, it's just a matter of using the random characters. Never reuse the TOTP secret for more than one application, okay? So if you have like 5 devices, generate yourself 5 TOTP secrets. Don't use the same for all the devices, okay? Don't be lazy. Or if you have a one radio server, of course, you will need one TOTP secret. But I mean that if you have, for example, you have few customers, each customer has its own radius server, its own infrastructure, then you should use the TOTP secret for each customer. The TOTP secret should be not same, it should be different for every of your customer. Okay, how to configure this TOTP? Our scenario will be very easy. We have a radius server, we have a radius client. Radius server is the device that is responsible for the authentication, authorization, and accounting. This is what the AAA means. And the radius client, careful, it's not the user or the user's computer. The radius client is the device that is using the radius server to authenticate the user. So this is the end device that is accessed by the user. So in your environment, you will have one radius server, maybe 2, I don't know, but you will have many radius clients. So each of your switches, routers, access points, whatever, will be the radius clients. For our purpose, we can say that radius server and radius client are the same device. Okay, so if you will run your radius server on one of your devices, then the device will be server plus the client at once. So how easy is to set it up? First, you need to install the user manager package. I have still 10 minutes, so I can do it. Well, this is WinBox. This is the CHR. You don't see it. Okay, sorry. Yeah. And I will try to make it somehow bigger. No. It cannot get bigger. Okay, you will need to trust me. System packages. This is the 718, which has a cool new feature that if you go to the system packages and you click to check for updates, you don't need to do anything else. It will show you also the extra packages that are available for your device. So what I need to have the user manager package, which is right here. I will click enable. What should I do now? do not reboot. There is a button called apply changes. I didn't, for the first time I was like, okay, I have installed the package, I need to reboot it. It didn't install. I need to press this apply changes. Hopefully the guys from MikroTik will do some upgrade in 7.18.1. Okay, where is the yes button? Here? Ah, fine, just press enter. Hopefully they will make it on the system reboot as well, because yeah, you see, user manager package is installed. Okay. So now what I need to do is I need to go to the user manager package. Maybe I can. Oh, okay. And what I need to do is I need to go to the settings and enable the Radius server. So this is how to enable the Radius server. The ports are just default ports. I don't need to change it at all. Now what I need to do here is I need to create a Radius client. It's called a router here. So I will create a new router, something like my router. Shared secret will be some shared secret. And the address of the router will be 127.0.0.1. That's it, okay? So when something will be connecting to the Radius, it can connect from this address with this shared secret. That's it. So I have created the router. Just to make it bigger for you, I have the screenshots here. Okay, so this was the first thing and the second. Yeah. So I will create a router with a shared secret here. That's it. And then what I need to do is I need to create a user. Be careful when you will be creating a Radius user. Do not create it on the system users, because that database bypasses the Radius. Okay, so not create it as a system user, but create this as a user manager user. Okay, so I will try to do it here. So user manager users, and I will create a user. Let's say it will be user 1 with some password and OTP secret. So I need the 16 characters, so I will use it like 10. Oh, sorry. 16 characters. What I need to do here is I need to set the attributes, and there is an attribute called MikroTik group, which is the name of the group that will be assigned to the user upon successful connection. So I will, for this demonstration, use the full group here, but do not use it in production. Yeah, you know, you should create your own group for yourself. And that's it. So the Radius server part, invalid OTP based. Okay, oh yeah, no problem. I mistyped some character. Okay, this is the screenshot from that window. So you just user, password, OTP secret, and the attributes must be at least MikroTik group. Of course, you can assign a VLAN for your remote user, whatever you want. But for this particular purpose, I will just assign the MikroTik group. And then to configure the client, I go to the second device, or to the Radius client device, and there is a button called Radius on every RouterOS. It's a part of the RouterOS. So I will need to create a new Radius server on the client. So this is just a connection to the Radius server. And I'm saying that my server is sitting on 127.0.0.1, let's say. The shared secret is this one, and I want to use this Radius server just for the login services. Not for wireless, not for .1x, not for anything else, just for the login services, which means logging to WinBox, SSH, no, WebFig, whatever, okay? And then the last thing, you go to system users and you just enable use Radius. That's it. So on the client there are 2 clicks, and on the server there are 3 clicks. Of course, you can automatize it for you by some scripts. Yeah, that's it. So then what happens, you will use your username, and the resulting password will be the password you gave to the user plus the OTP as a one string. Okay, so let's say it will be strong password 1, 2, 3, and these yellow characters, those are the random numbers from the TOTP applications. There is a problem. I didn't find any workaround since now. WinBox terminal will not work, because if you log into the WinBox itself and you open the terminal, it starts a login in the background, and your password has already been used, so it will not work. The only solution I have found is just to use SSH and not use the Windows terminal. The same problem has the WebFig terminal. Maybe if you found out some other solution, you can then tell me. Giving the user just the secret random 16 characters, it's not so convenient. So you can generate the QR code for that. It's actually also very easy. There is a string, you can see there, and TOTP, label, which is this thing, then the company. Careful, it's encoded in HTML entities, so for example, the space is %20. Okay, so you need to encode it if you want, and the red is the secret. So this is the text, and or if you are lazy as me, you can use also this guy's GitHub project. You just write the secret there, and it will generate the QR code for you. It's open source, probably you can trust it. Okay, so this is how to enable the TOTP. It's very easy. By the way, is there anybody who is using the TOTP already? 1, 2. Yeah, so you have 3. So you have work to do. It's not hard, okay? And of course, if there is a problem with your radio server, you will not be able to access the device. So always leave some system user on your device locally. Use the strong password. On every device, the password should be different. Yeah? So you can fix the radius problem in case something bad happens. Okay? So that's from my side. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions. Yeah, thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'm glad to answer.
Run, Forrest, run. Okay, on just about every Linux system, there's a command SSH copy ID, which is really handy for me to copy my public key onto a target computer. And it works with absolutely everything, apart from MikroTik. So could you ask the guys in Latvia to maybe make that work? That'd be really good. Just saying.
Actually, you can do it. You can issue an SSH command. I can do it for you. Not now. I need to work it out. But if you connect via SSH with your password, you can type the MikroTik commands normally, and so you can SCP your key to the router, and then use SSH to import the key to your user. It's possible, not with SSH copy ID. Also, I don't understand why Windows doesn't have a SSH copy ID command, if the SSH client is the same, but...
Windows isn't secure, don't use Windows. It's shared.
Yeah.
Any other question?
Does MikroTik have something to verify signature of the software? So like there will be no possibility for somebody to load software which has rootkit, like other vendors do some sort of TPM?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
And the second question is many vendors like Juniper, Arista, Cisco, they use VRF management to isolate control plane. Is it something you recommend, like to separate main routing table from routing table where you allow management services like SSH and...
adding some additional layers of security is always a good idea, but do not overcome the security, okay? You should focus on the security, but the security should not be like 150% of your work, okay? You should make some balance between security and functioning. So, yeah.
Other questions? You? No?
I still have 15 seconds.
3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you, Michael, for this nice presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.